Hello, everyone. This is Nanette Kennedy with Humanities Team in the Evolution Revolution and our regular group for this book discussion of Book 3, Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. And, excuse me, last week we read chapter, I think it's 21. And it was very, very powerful. To the point where some of us were in tears at the beauty of it.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, Christine. Hi, Nanette. Hi, Linda. Everyone, Kirsten.
And anyway, we decided we would discuss this chapter and what things moved us. Obviously, we all have some things in common that we really enjoyed. But I don't know, who would like to start on the discussion?
Annette, could we read the last couple of pages again?
Sure, Linda, do you want to do that?
Good idea. Refresh our memory.
Sure, I can do that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And everybody go on mute while Linda's reading, so there's no interference.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know.
That's okay.
Christine, did you have a good idea of where you wanted to start from, or?
I think just that last dialogue with Neale. See, I've got all three of my books are together. It's where Neale says, "Whoa, wow, I got it, good. Now this is God now, good. Now know that there are three basic wisdoms that run through the entire dialogue. These are."
Got it. Okay, I found that spot.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so this is Neale speaking. Whoa, wow, I got it. Good. Now, know that there are three basic wisdoms that run through the entire dialogue. They are, we are all one. 2, there's enough. 3, there's nothing we have to do. If you decide that we are all one, you would cease treating each other the way you do. If you decided that there's enough, you would share everything with everyone. If you decided that there's nothing we have to do, you would stop trying to use doingness to solve your problems, but rather move to and from a state of being, which would cause your experience of those problems to disappear, and the conditions themselves to thus evaporate. This is perhaps the most important truth of all for you to understand at this stage in your evolution, and it is a good place to end this dialogue. Remember this always, and make it your mantra. There is nothing I have. There's nothing I have to have. There's nothing I have to do. And there's nothing I have to be except exactly what I'm being right now. This does not mean that having and doing will be eliminated from your life. It means that what you experience yourself having or doing will spring from your being, not lead you to it. When you come from happiness, you do certain things because you are happy, as opposed to the old paradigm in which you did things that you hoped would make you happy. When you come from wisdom, you do certain things because you are wise, not because you are trying to get wisdom. When you come from love, you do certain things because you are love, not because you want to have love. Everything changes. Everything turns around when you come from being, rather than seeking to be. You cannot do your way to being. Whether you are trying to be happy, be wise, be love, or be God, you cannot get there by doing. And yet it is true that you will be doing wonderful things once you get there. Here is the divine dichotomy. The way to get there is to be there. Just be where you choose to get. It's that simple. There's nothing you have to do. You want to be happy? Be happy. You want to be wise? Be wise. You want to be love? Be love. That is who you are in any event. You are my beloved. Oh, I just lost my breath. You have such a wondrous way of putting things. It is the truth that is eloquent. Truth has an elegance that startles the heart to its own reawakening. That is what these conversations with God have done. They have touched the heart of the human race and reawakened it. Now they lead you to a critical question. It is a question of all humanity must ask itself. Can and will you create a new cultural story? Can and will you devise a new first cultural myth upon which all other myths are based? Is the human race inherently good or inherently evil? This is the crossroads to which you have come. The future of the human race depends on which way you go. If you and your society believe that you are inherently good, you will make decisions and laws that are life-affirming and constructive. If you and your society believe that you are inherently evil, you will make decisions and laws that are life-denying and destructive. Laws that are life-affirming are laws that allow you to be, do, and have what you wish. Laws that are life-denying are laws that stop you from being, doing, and having what you wish. To those who believe in original sin and that the inherent nature of man is evil, claim that God has created laws which stop you from doing as you wish and promote human laws, an endless number of them, that seek to do the same. Those who believe in original blessing and that the inherent nature of man is good proclaim that God has created natural laws which allow you to do as you wish and promote human laws that seek to do the same. What is your viewpoint of the human race? What is your viewpoint of yourself? Left entirely to your own devices, do you see yourself as being able to be trusted in everything? How about others? How do you view them? Until they reveal themselves to you, one way or the other, what is your basic assumption? Now answer this. Do your assumptions further your society in breaking down or breaking through? Well, I see myself as trustworthy. I never did before, but now I do. I have become trustworthy because I have changed my ideas on the kind of person that I am. I am also clear now on what God wants and what God doesn't want. I'm clear about you. These conversations with God have played a huge role in that change, in making that shift possible. And now I see in society what I see in myself. Not something that is breaking down, but something that is breaking through. I see a human culture that is at last awakening to its divine heritage, aware of its divine purpose, and increasingly conscious of its divine self. If that is what you see, that is what you will create. Once you were lost, but now you are found. You were blind, but now you see. And this has been an amazing grace. You have sometimes been apart from me in your heart, but now we are whole again, and we can be forever. For what you have joined together, no one but you can put asunder. Remember this, you are always apart because you are never apart. You're always a part of God because you are never apart from God. This is the truth of your being. We are whole. And so now you know the whole truth. This truth has been food for the hungry soul. Take and eat of it. The world has thirsted for this joy. Take and drink of it. Do this in remembrance of me. For truth is the body, and joy is the blood of God, who is love. Truth, joy, love. These three are interchangeable. One leads to another, and it matters not in which order they appear. All lead to me. All are me. And so I end this dialogue as it began. As with life itself, it comes full circle. You have been given truth here. You have been given joy here. You have been given love. You have been given here the answers to the largest mysteries of life. There is now only one question remaining. It is the question with which we began. The question is not, to whom do I talk, but who listens? Thank you. Thank you for talking to all of us. We have heard you and we will listen. I love you. And this dialogue, as this dialogue ends, I am filled with joy and truth and love. I'm filled with you. I feel my oneness with God. The place of oneness is heaven. You are there now. You are never not there because you are never not one with me. This is what I would have you know. This is what I would have you take at last from this conversation. And here is my message, the message I would seek to leave the world. My children who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom is come. Your will is done on earth as it is in heaven. You are given this day your daily bread, and you are forgiven your debts and your trespasses, exactly to the degree that you have forgiven those who trespass against you. Lead yourself not into temptation, but deliver yourself from the evils you have created. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen and amen. Go now and change your world. Go now and be your highest self. You understand now all that you need to understand. You know now all that you need to know. You are now all that you need to be. You never were anything less. You simply did not know this. You did not remember it. But now you remember. Seek to carry this remembrance with you always. Seek to share it with all those whose lives you touch. For yours is a destiny grander than you might have imagined. You have come here to the room to heal the room. You have come to the space to heal the space. There is no other reason for you to be here. And know this, I love you. My love is always yours, both now and even forevermore. I am with you always, always. Goodbye, God. Thank you for this dialogue. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And my beautiful creation, thank you, for you have given God a voice again and a place in your heart. And that is all either of us have ever really wanted. We are together again. It is very good.
Thank you, Linda.
Yes, thank you, Linda.
And it's interesting in the book that I have, and it's a newer edition. My chapter ends on the line, "There is no other reason for you to be here." And I wish I had the additional wording that for whatever reason was cut out, but maybe we'll figure that out here in a minute. But I was reminded of something when you reread this. I'm going to see if I can find it quite quickly. If I can't, I will. Oh, I can't seem to.
Hello,
Hi, Linda. Or
Ann.
Ann, sorry.
Hi, Anne.
Hi, Linda. How are you doing today? I wanted to know what was going on in your heart while you were reading. If you wanted to share, you were very moved by the passage, so I just thought maybe you like to share or something.
I was just reading, Anne.
What? Okay. So anyway, that was.
I was
what
just
wanted to-
reading.
Okay.
I was moved to tears as well, and quite a few of us were.
So I just wanted to know if anybody wanted to share about that. Anyway, that's all I have right now.
I think I have something to share. I know
Go
I
ahead.
do. Sure, and for me, it's a key phrase stated, and any divine channel of truth would state it and has stated it, which is this: who listens? You know what I mean? We have the perfect divine expression of our lives, how to see ourselves as beings of love, and therefore create a world filled with love, which is exactly the purpose of God, and which is exactly the purpose of every person in this room at the moment, every one of us listening. The thing is who listens, and that's a key for us to work towards critical change, work towards awakening enough people that critical mass happens, right? Getting people to listen to that perfect message of love that brings us to tears because it is so beautiful, right? So the thing is now take this message, live it and be it in our own hearts and minds, our lives, and bring other people to the awakening of this fact. Who will listen? That's always been the key thing when God's spoken to us through Moses, through Edgar Cayce, through Christ, through Buddha. Who will listen? So it's getting people to listen, and that's what I wish to say. We're listening.
We're trying our best. Thank you, Alton. And I want to share, Ruth Luna used to be a very active person in the humanities team. She was can't even remember what her title was. But she's very, very intelligent. And she lives in Peru. And she wrote a blog one time, and it's always just so pulled at my heartstrings. And I was reminded of it while Linda was reading. And I think it's appropriate to read it here. It starts out, for some reason, it's called The Original What. For some reason, the thought original sin appeared in my mind a few days ago. Since I never think of sin, the mere thought of it was enough to get my attention. Immediately after I became aware of the thought, a strong impulse of looking that word up in the dictionary. I went to Wikipedia to look up pecado, the Spanish word for sin, and I found a few definitions. But here's what really got my attention. According to Wikipedia, the American word for sin had the connotation of oblivion. According to Webster's dictionary, oblivion means the state of being completely forgotten. Could that be it? And if it were so, the original sin would be what we first forgot. What did we forget? Did we forget that we are not separate from God? Did we forget that the divine is within? Did we forget that we are all one? What if the symbolic meaning of baptism was washing away the illusion of separation so that we can experience oneness? This is not a treaty on theology, and I'm not claiming that the definition of sin that I'm now using is accurate or even correct. Beyond the academic truth of this, which may be debatable, I feel there is truth in that there is something we, the citizens of the world, have completely forgotten. And maybe our existence is about awakening this very ancient memory. We are all one. Wow, I cannot begin to tell you how liberating this feels to me. And she writes, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned, would become Father, forgive me, for I have forgotten. This change of words connects me with what I feel is a spirit of confession. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death, would become, Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us, for those who have forgotten, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. It's beautiful, she says.
That's perfect. Spot on.
Yep. I think when that first came out, that was 4 or 5 years ago, I posted it on the Humanities Team site on a Facebook page. And there were so many people of so many different backgrounds in faith and belief systems that wrote and said, oh my gosh, I could say some of the prayers I used to love to say, but there were things in it that just didn't resonate with me. And if you change the languaging, get rid of the guilt trip of sin, and just, I forgot, instead of beating ourselves up, it would be bless me, Father, for I have forgotten, rather than for I've sinned. Over.
Thanks, Nanette.
You're welcome.
We're at a stage in our evolution where there's a willingness to let go of all the conditioning. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, that was really great, Nanette. It was like when you breaking down, connected with that, what Linda was saying, breaking down and breaking through that kind of was like, we were one, connected with that.
Mm-hmm. And for some reason we lost Linda, but I'm sure she'll be back. I think too that saying we've forgotten, and for me the idea of having the baptismal font be something that's to remind this newborn being, or however old you are when you get baptized, that you're not separate from God. Because it's so easy to do. And even yesterday, I was having a I forgot hour when I was with my granddaughter. And we were at the store. My son was getting new shoes. And every now and then, Piper at the store will just, can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have this? Can I have that? She's 8 years old. And I'm thinking, I don't know. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know if I'm up for this. And at one point I said, please stop. You have all you need in my living room, plus all you need down in your mom's house, the living room. Be good for the rest of the time you're here. Maybe I'll get you a little something, but I'm not, she was pointing to things that were $75. And I was like, your birthday's in December. Christmas is in December. But anyway, she finally just snapped out of it. But there for about an hour, I was like, I was not remembering. But you know what? I knew I wasn't remembering. That's where I know the growth is I knew I wasn't, and I just had a hard time snapping out of it. And I'm sure we all have those moments. Over.
Well, and 8-year-olds don't know what $75 is.
See, I forgot. Yep, that's very true.
Well, it's your unconditional love for her that made her forget it even more. You know, like you're so good to her, she figured.
Oh, she figured all she could do is say no. um, I think I told you guys last week that she climbed into a big box.
That was just what I was thinking, Nanette. Did she
Out
go
my yep,
herself in the box?
yep. My husband had to get a new lawnmower. It was a big box. She climbed in there and she just said, I said, what are you doing? Because she was putting her backpack in there and some popcorn and water, all the supplies, and a pillow and a blanket. And I said, what are you doing? She goes, I just want you to mail me home. I just want to go home. And I said, well, it doesn't quite work that way. And she goes, why not? I said, would you really want to be taped up in that box, put on a truck, and driven 20 minutes down the road? And she said, well, yeah. I said, but your mom's not there right now, because her mom was working, and that's why I was watching her. But the things kids say, it just makes me smile, because you're not expecting it. I wasn't thinking of what she was thinking at all. But I think most of the time, younger people make me realize the connection. It's those moments when you're like, don't ask me for anything else.
My 8-year-old self would have been saying, can I sleep here?
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't ask. Well, for months, I can't remember what we bought, but we had a huge box in the living room, which was really getting on my last nerve because you had to walk around it. But when she spent the night, she would sleep in that box. And it was like I can't remember what it was.
It's her own little house.
It's her own little hut, and so sometimes I think I need my own little box. But anyway, that was a perfect place to start reading. Whoa, I got it. And I thought about, I don't know how the Houston flood is playing out throughout the rest of the world, but I can't think of the guy's name, but he writes a blog that says somebody has to say something about this. And the guy is very spiritual. And are you all familiar with, I can't think of his first name, Olstein? Big mega church minister? Joel, thank you.
Joel.
He was getting lots of grief because he was not opening up his mega church to the homeless, the hungry, the people that had everything taken from them. And this blogger said, I want you to know at the outset, I'm not trying to be judgmental. He finally opened the doors to his church, and that's what spawned this blog that he wrote. And it just talks about, when we're all one, there is enough, there's nothing to do, nothing we have to do. And I thought about that situation in Houston. And in those moments, it's tough to believe that there is enough or that there's nothing we have to do. And, if I lived anywhere near Houston, I might have to wait till the water went down a little bit because I have a thing about snakes. But I would do something, and I just wondered what other people kind of thought about that.
Both with the fires in Canada and the Hurricane Harvey in Houston, I give what I can to the Humane Society to support the animals that have been displaced. And it's terrifying for the innocents to be abandoned that way. And some people, there was that one lady who actually passed away because she went back to get her dog, or 2 dogs, I think. But yeah, it's hard to see the light in these events. But I know Nick Ortner from the Tapping Solution, he did like I think about a 30-minute global tapping to kind of like calm the energies down. It's when this happens that, you can't help, or I certainly can't help but feel anxious. And but it also brings out my compassion when I see how good we are when it comes to a crisis. If we behave that way every single day, then we wouldn't have any problems in this world. Over.
I agree wholeheartedly, because we've seen it with the refugees coming over to different European countries and Canada, the United States. The United States could do a little better, but it seems like in times of crisis, I wish we'd remember when it's not crisis. Remember when you see one person sitting there asking for food or money or whatever they're asking for, to remind us, but that's when you really see the separation kind of go away in a big form. And that's a really good point, Christine. Over.
I'm very curious to know what you've got to say, Linda, because I was looking at the expression on your face.
Well, I think that the challenge for everyone is to remember. It's I thought that Nanette's sharing was beautiful about the word sin and what it means, because it's perfect that that we substitute forgetting for it, because that's really what this is all about. It's humanity remembering who and what we are. And so I look at, Harvey and all these things that are happening. They're just opportunities. They're just opportunities for us to remember who and what we are.
And the word remember is very interesting too. So we remember ourselves with the oneness and the unity and the
exactly. Truth. Yeah. Yeah, it has several. It's got several meanings to it, because we're not only remembering in our minds and hearts, but we're remembering by, when we remember, we rejoin, because we reestablish that connection of oneness. Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. The other comment that I had about this chapter, the one thing that I really, it surprised me, was the reference to original blessing. And he gave, earlier in the chapter, he gave the guy's name.
Matthew
that
Fox.
I'm not going to remember right now. Yeah, Matthew Fox. And I thought it was interesting because I had just posted, shared a post from the Holy Fool 64 card oracle. And I don't know if any of you saw that, but I'm just going to read. This is a quote, and this is like a new set of cards that they're not even out yet, but I happen to be friends with the people who are making them. And they had posted this image, and it said forgiving, and it's card 34. It says, forgiving is not forgiving someone, oneself, or something else for doing something wrong. It's becoming reestablished in original blessing. And then the text that goes with it, from the book that goes with these cards they're making, this is what it says. And I want to read it to you because I think it's just so incredible. Forgiveness is not yours. It is not a thing you do. it is this grace relieving you of the big misunderstanding. It is the recognition that nothing ever happened to anybody. It asks you to release your death grip on the idea that somehow there is a you who has failed, that you are somehow something other than a child of God, that you were ever something other than the beloved, for you are the love which powers the universe.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Hi, it's Anne.
Hi, Anne.
I heard something today, which there was this, they were talking about repentance, and what they said that the definition of repentance, what it really means in another language or something, is to change direction. So it's this kind of like forgiveness. It's kind of like remembering. Also, it's just a matter of turning around. I think for myself, what I see is that there's only two ways to be. Either I'm facing God or I'm turning away from God. And it's as simple as remembering or noticing or being aware when I see that, when I look around and I see that there are differences instead of similarities, and I'm seeing all the differences, then I know that to me, I'm not in love. I'm not in God. I'm not facing God. I'm looking, the other way. And it's just been interesting holding that and looking at that and seeing, where I make separation, and the opposite of that is the unity. But I guess what I'm getting at is the spiritual life seems to be almost so simple that it's hard to get, like just the 3-letter word of let. It's simple to say, but anyway, but it just seems like spiritually, it really is very simple. It's not very complicated.
That's a good point.
Anyway, that's my share.
Well, it actually makes me, and I won't do it right now, but some of these words that we've become attached to or assigned specific meaning to, it'd be very interesting to go look up the history of the word. And I am lucky enough to own an Oxford dictionary. It's so big I hardly ever use it. But with each word, they tell you where the word originated, what its original definition was, and it just makes me think, what have we done over the years?
Yeah. Well,
life?
that's why that caught my eye was I wouldn't think of repentance as the concept of change, of just changing direction, of just saying, okay, I'm repenting because I'm going this way, and I think, and I want to go this way. That's a different concept or a different way for me to see it. For me, it was. And I think just seeing things, perception is everything. One man's treasure is another man's garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're all unique expressions of the divine. And can I just ask a question? Are we going to read today the last 2 pages of the afterword?
Oh, we should.
Yeah, we should, so that we can finally move on to book 4. The one thing I want to say about, one of the reasons I got choked up at the end of this chapter that we just reread part of is I remember when I read this when there was no other Conversations with God books out at the time. And I thought, God, I'm really going to miss, Conversations with God. And so I think as we move forward through these books, it's just something to think about. So Linda, do you want to go ahead and read the closing or the afterword? In my book, it's called the closing.
Sure. I've browsed through it. I think it's going to take more than the time we have left. So just shout at me to stop when you want me to stop.
Okay.
Okay. So in closing, this has been an extraordinary experience for me, as you might imagine. The delivering of this trilogy took 6 years. 4 of them consumed by the last volume. I have done my best to stand out of the way and let the process work its wonders. I believe for the most part I have succeeded in that, although I readily acknowledge not having been a perfect filter. Some of what has come through me is no doubt distorted. It would therefore be a mistake to take this, or any other writing on spiritual matters, and turn it into a literal truth. I want to discourage anyone who may have an idea about doing that. Don't make more of it than what is here. On the other hand, don't make less of it either. What is here is an important message. It's a message which could change the world. Many lives have already been altered by the serial, now translated in 24 languages and on international bestseller lists month after month. It has found its way into the hands of millions of people across the globe. CWG study groups have formed spontaneously in over 150 cities, with that number growing each month. At this writing, we are receiving 400 to 600 letters a week from people who have been so deeply touched by the insight, the wisdom, and the truth in these writings, they have been moved to contact me personally. In order to handle this overwhelming response, Nancy and I have formed a nonprofit foundation that publishes a monthly newsletter containing answers to readers' questions and news about lectures, retreats, and other CWG teaching materials. If you would like to stay connected with the energy of this message and to help spread it to others, a subscription to this newsletter is a wonderful way to do so. A portion of each subscription fee is placed in our scholarship fund, allowing those who do not otherwise are able to afford to do so, and an opportunity to attend our programs or receive our letters free of charge. Send $35, $45 for international subscriptions for 1 year to newsletter subscription, care of Recreation, the Foundation for Personal Growth and Spiritual Understanding, 1257 Siskiyou Boulevard, number 1150, Ashland, Oregon, zip code 97520. The phone is 541-482-0086, and email is recreating@aol.com. There is more that you can do if you wish to truly become involved in activating the message you have found here. First, you can begin by reading other important material on the subjects covered in this trilogy. Taking a suggestion I was given in this dialogue, I have researched, discovered, and now enthusiastically recommend a brief but powerful reading list. I have labeled it 8 books that can change the world. I do not merely recommend these books. I personally request that you read them. Why? Because I believe that people on Earth are moving into an extraordinary time. Decisions will be made in the next few years which will set our course and direction for decades to come. The choices now being placed before human community are enormous, and tomorrow's choices will be even more monstrous, or momentous rather, as our options become increasingly limited. All of us will play a role in making these decisions. They will not be left to someone else. We are the someone else. The decisions I'm talking about cannot or will not be made by any political power structure, the influential elite, or corporate giants. They will be made in the hearts and in the homes of individuals and families around the world. What shall we teach our children? Where shall we spend our money? Which of our dreams and aspirations, wants and desires shall be our highest goals, our top priorities? How shall we treat our environment? What is the best way to stay healthy? And how shall we improve our diet? What shall we ask of our leaders? And what shall we demand? How shall we judge when life is going well? What shall be our measure of success? How shall we learn to love? The aggregate impact of these very personal choices will create what scientist and author Rupert Sheldrake calls a morphic field, a resonance that sets the tone for life on a worldwide scale. So it is important, crucial in fact, that each individual's role be a conscious one. Our choices cannot be made in a vacuum. And as well informed as many of us believe we are, and frankly, because some of us are not, I believe there will be a profound benefit in reading these books, or I would not take this time to point them out to you. I know there are many wonderful titles, and obviously this list could be much longer. These are my personal favorite choices, some written by people I have come to know, others by people I have never met, but every book very powerful, meaningful, and important. I hope you will read these 8 books that can change the world. 1. The Healing of America by Marianne Williamson. A fiery book filled with searing insights and brave solutions. It provides rich nourishment for anyone thinking seriously about where we are and where we want to go as individuals, as a nation, and as a species. The latest work from a woman of uncommon courage and social commitment, this book cries out to those who seek a newer world. 2. The Last Hours of Ancient Sunset by Tom Hartman. A book that will shock and awaken you, and may even anger you. What it will not do is leave you untouched. You will be unable to experience your life and life on this planet in the same way again. And that will be good for you and the planet. A shaker-upper, easy to read, urgent and powerful. 3. Conscious Evolution, Awakening the Power of Our Social Potential by Barbara Marx Hubbard. A document of breathtaking scope and vision, eloquent, compelling, and wise in its description of where we have been and where we are heading as Homo sapiens. It sweeps us into a new level of awareness of our possibilities, an inspiring call to our highest selves as we move into the time of co-creating the new millennium. 4. Reworking Success by Robert Theobald, who has been called one of the 10 most important and influential futurists of our time. A small book with a huge message. Unless we re-choose what we call winning in this culture, the culture itself will not be around much longer. Our old ideas of what is good for us are killing us. 5. The Celestine Vision by James Redfield offers a roadmap into a new and possible future, a path to a wonderful tomorrow if we will but take it. The simplest truths, the most profound, they are placed right before us to use as tools in the creation of the life of which we have all for so long dreamed. Suddenly the dream is within reach. 6. The Politics of Meaning by Michael Lerner. Down to earth and yet wonderfully uplifting, this is an eloquent plea for sanity, compassion, and simple human love in our politics, in our economics, and in our corporate world. Contains striking ideas and marvelous visions of how the world could work if we would only get the power structure to truly care, with suggestions on how we might cause that to happen. 7. The Future of Love by Daphne Rose Kingma. A dazzling exploration of a new way to love each other, a way that acknowledges the power of the soul in intimate relationships. Deeply insightful and daringly fresh, this book takes a breathtaking step away from tradition and into the possibility of saying yes to the true and grandest desire of our being, to love fully. 8. Diet for a New America by John Robbins. A highly impactful treatment of a simple subject, food. It is a revelation. The poisons we eat and the poor quality of our nutrients is exposed in a way that will change forever how you look at what you put into your body. This book challenges the assumption that it is good to consume the flesh of dead animals, and it presents startling evidence of the economic and health benefits of no longer eating meat. All of these books offer a blueprint for tomorrow. Similarities in their articulations are often startling. It is difficult to believe that these writers didn't sit down with each other and agree on what they were going to say and how they were going to say it. That doesn't happen, of course, and so the astonishment here is the level of synchronicity. The vision of these 8 authors is so clear and so exciting, and offers a view of civilized society so outrageously better than our present day-to-day reality, that your heart will sing with exaltation, and you will immediately want to know what you can do to help move these things along. Fortunately for all of us, Marianne, Tom, Barbara, Robert, James, Michael, Daphne, and John have provided specific and solid suggestions on where to go from here. Books, all of them, are chock full of ideas on what you can do now to make things better and to create long-term change in our world. I would like you to make you aware of 3 organizations which are at this very moment actively and vigorously engaged, to which the Conversations of God trilogy calls us, and one grassroots citizen campaign which seeks to uplift the world. You may wish to explore these groups further to see if you agree with their philosophies, and if they may have already put into place a mechanism through which your own visions and choices can be realized. In the area of spirituality, the emissaries. This is an association of people in many countries whose primary interest is to coordinate accurately with aspects of daily experience and to see. The group believes that when this is done consistently and in concert with others, the resulting collective revelation of divine character sounds a tone in humanity, calling forth awakening and a return to true identity. The descriptive term, emissary of light, refers to anyone who consistently expresses a stable, true, and loving spirit. Implicit in this is the acceptance of responsibility to face and let go of the attitudes and assumptions that limit the release of inherent spiritual potential. Of course, there are thousands of people never having heard of the emissaries, whose presence where they are is genuinely radiant and uplifting. To that extent, they are emissaries of divine light, and their lives carry authority and power. Through the means of deliberate association and activities, such as correspondence, courses, seminars, attunement, and regular weekly meetings, the emissaries provide an ongoing context for shared spiritual and creative work. They may be reached at, and I need to just cough for a second. They can be reached at the emissaries at 5569 North County Road, number 29, Loveland, Colorado, zip code 80538. Telephone is 970-679-4200. And their email is sunrise@emnet.org. In the area of politics, the Natural Law Party, founded in 1992 to fill a void in political structure of the United States, the Natural Law Party has now established itself in many countries around the world. The party believes that to continue human progress and to flourish as a planetary community, we must bolster our allegiance with natural law, which is described as the laws of nature, orderly principles governing life throughout the physical universe. The candidate for president of the Natural Law Party in the United States in the last election was physicist John Hagelin, says, "It is unfortunately true that many of our institutions, modern technologies, and patterns of behavior increasingly violate the laws of nature. Our medicines, with their dangerous side effects, chemical pesticides, fertilizers, and genetically engineered crops, and even some of our financial institutions are sowing the seeds of future epidemics, class warfare, and environmental disasters." Of course, Conversations with God makes the same points over and over again. The Natural Law Party offers a political platform from which to address these issues. It may be contacted in the United States at the Natural Law Party, 1946 Manson Drive, P.O. Box 1900, Fairfield, Iowa 52556. Telephone is 515-472-2040. And online at the website www.natural-law.org. In the area of spiritual political activism in the United States, the American Renaissance Alliance. This is an organization which I am personally partnering in co-creating with author, lecturer, and visionary Marianne Williamson, who observes that as the power of the Spirit rises within us, so does our desire to be of service to the world. The processes of democracy can facilitate such service, giving every citizen the opportunity to express our spiritual values in the political domain. Love, mercy, peace, and injustice will dwell at the forefront of our global political landscape when enough people decide to place them there. In the United States, the American Renaissance Alliance provides an organized context for philosophical inquiry and political action, bringing together like-minded people in the service of common good. Our purpose is to hire for witness to the love of God within all of us. Marianne and I envision that in cities throughout the United States, 2 or more will gather to pray for peace and work for justice. As Marianne writes our brochure dedicated to the idea that soul force is more powerful than brute force, the Alliance actively proclaims a vision of an America delivered from the clutches of greed, grounded in peace, and evolving toward even more love. We believe this is our destiny as global species as well, and will support similar organizations which create themselves worldwide.
Okay, let's stop there, Linda.
Okay.
It's a couple minutes after 1. How many pages are left?
1 full page. Looks like a full page and another 3/4 page.
Do we just want to hear the last of it, or do we want to save it for next week?
If people can plow through it, I think we should just plow through it, but it depends on if people could stay.
I can stay.
I can stay too. But you know what? What's written in my book, the combination it's not that at all. It's funny. It's like another chapter.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it?
I have something much, much shorter in mine. It's like 4.5 pages.
Yep, that's mine too.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah, I think this is like the original.
Yeah, mine is 4.5 pages too, Diane. Anyway, let's finish it, Linda, if you're willing.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, and so we're still talking about the American Renaissance Alliance. It's not a traditionally issue-oriented political organization. We feel the issues are not the issue. The vast majority of America's problems stem from an underlying source, the disengagement of actual people from their country's political process. The same is true around the world. I believe the message in Conversations with God contains not only an explicit invitation, but a call to action. I hope it will be heard by people everywhere. In the United States, where I live, Marianne Williamson and I hope that our American Renaissance Alliance will provide a model that can be duplicated worldwide. Again, as Marianne says, it is a model of nonpartisan organization, affirming the political importance of high-minded conservatives as well as high-minded liberal values. Our desire is not to limit, but rather release the political power of every individual according to his or her own conscience, in support of his or her own beliefs. In short, we seek to assist people in bringing their souls to bear on the world around them. If you're interested in more information about the work Marianne and I are doing around holistic politics and its principles in action and would like to join us, please contact the American Renaissance Alliance, P.O. Box 15712, Washington, D.C. 20003. Telephone is 202-544-1219, and online at www.renaissancealliance.org. Finally, you could not have missed the repeated references in the third installment of CWG Trilogy to what works. The point was made a number of times in the dialogue that highly evolved beings consistently observe what's so and what works. There are now cropping up in our society several efforts to take a closer look at programs and undertakings which are already addressing many of the problems we face. One of which I am personally aware is the Campaign for Positive Solutions, an initiative to help build a new civilization based on what is already working. The campaign's promise is to scan for, map, connect, communicate these breakthroughs and encourage their replication. When these breakthroughs are adapted and adopted more widely, we will save billions of dollars and improve the quality of life for millions of people. I'm working closely with this campaign, and through it, I hope to build support for people to bring the best of the world, what works, to their community, and to help create projects that contribute to leading to healing and evolving our world. The director of the Campaign for Positive Solutions is Eleanor Mulhoney LeCain, working with futurist Barbara Marx Hubbard, Nancy Carroll, and Patricia Ellsberg. The campaign is a project of Barbara's not-for-profit foundation. Individuals, groups, organizations, and institutions are invited to place projects that are working into its website, providing a way to share what you know and learn from the successes of others. You may visit the website cocreation.org. You can also form a small group in your community, church, organization, or among your friends and begin the process of synergy and co-creation. Ask yourselves these questions. What is my passion to create right now? Where is the juice for me? 2, what are my needs? Where do I feel blocked in taking my next step? 3, what resources do I want to share freely with others? 4, what do I know is already working in my own life, in my work, in the world? Then place your projects and others that you know are working on the website. For further information on this initiative may be had by contacting the Foundation for Conscious Evolution, P.O. Box 6397, San Rafael, California. The zip is 94903-0397, and the phone is 415-454-8191. You can send an email to FCE for Foundation of Conscious Evolution, FCE at peace or I'm going to just read it, PEACEROOTN.org. And I hope some of this information has served you. My object here has been to offer you a jump start, if you choose it, in activating the message of Conversations with God. I know that not all of you will agree with all of the authors or organizations I have mentioned here. That's okay. If they do nothing but cause us all to stop and think, they will have provided a wonderful service. Now, as we end this 3-book dialogue, I want to say thank you. Thank you for extending me the tolerance of allowing the free flow of the ideas which have come through me. I am sure that not every one of you has agreed with everything that has been written here. Again, that's okay. In fact, it's preferable. I'm not comfortable with anything which is swallowed whole. And the largest message of Conversations with God is that we may, each of us, conduct our own dialogue with deity, contact our own inner wisdom, and find our own truth. That is where the freedom is. That is where the opportunity lies. That is where the ultimate purpose of life is fulfilled. We have a chance now, you and I, to recreate ourselves anew in the next grandest vision of the greatest vision we ever had about who we are we have a chance to change our lives and truly change the world. I am told that it was George Bernard Shaw who first said, "There are those who seek the world as it is and ask why, and there are those who seek the world as it could be and ask why not." Today, as you and I finish this journey through the CWG trilogy together, I invite you to embrace your highest vision of yourself and the world and to ask, why not? Blessed be. Neil Donald Walsh.
Thank you, Linda, so much.
Yep. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Lots of love to everyone. And maybe we'll begin next week with this very short closing in this other book, or the other edition. And
I would like that.
yep. And then we will begin Conversations with God Book 4.
I know that I have a copy and Alton has a copy. Does everybody else have their copy?
I don't have it yet. I'll try to get it in English.
Okay.
I don't have it. It doesn't come out here till the 18th of March next year, but I've ordered it from America.
Well, let me see what I can do for you.
You can get it online, like through a download MP3 or Kindle also.
Yeah. Anyhow, I cannot be there on next Sunday because I will be sitting in a big, big fair to have the declaration, one of the declaration to be signed.
Oh.
So I should get it for in the book 4. I should have it in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Thank you, Diane, for getting the declaration signed.
Yep.
You're amazing.
Well, I don't know if I'm amazing. I'm just happy to do it.
Yeah, that makes you amazingly unique. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Love you all.
Bye.
Yeah, I love you all too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Much love.